Elvis was halfway through Heartbreak Hotel at the International Hotel when his eyes locked onto a face in the third row that made him forget every word he was supposed to sing. The elderly man with weathered hands and kind eyes was applauding enthusiastically. But it wasn't his enthusiasm that stopped Elvis cold. It was the recognition that hit him like lightning. Those same gentle hands had once placed a guitar in the arms of a poor 11-year-old boy and changed the course of music history forever. What happened next would bring Elvis to tears in front of 2,000 people and reveal the debt he owed to a man the world had never heard of. It was February 14th, 1970, and Elvis was in peak form during his Las Vegas residency. The crowd was electric, hanging on his every move. He'd already electrified them with That's All Right and Hound Dog, and now he was settling into one of his signature ballads when he saw him, Sam Kowalski, sitting quietly in the third row, his face beaming with quiet pride. Sam Kowalski was 73 years old, a Polish immigrant who had owned Kowalski's music shop in Memphis for over 40 years. The tiny store on Union Avenue was crammed with guitars of every size, mandolins hanging from the ceiling, and the rich smell of wood polish. To most people, Sam was just another shopkeeper. But to Elvis Presley, Sam Kowalski was the man who had made everything possible. To understand why Elvis would stop his Las Vegas show for this elderly music shop owner, we have to travel back to January 8, 1946, when an 11-year-old boy received a birthday gift that would change everything. Elvis had wanted a bicycle for his 11th birthday. The other kids in his neighborhood had bikes, and he dreamed of racing down the dirt roads of East Tupelo on 2 wheels. But bicycles cost $50, and the Presley family barely had $50 for food and rent. Instead, his parents scraped together $7.75 to buy him an acoustic guitar from Tupelo Hardware. The guitar was small, cheap, and came with 2 broken strings. Elvis tried to hide his disappointment, but his parents could see it in his face. The instrument sat in the corner of their tiny house for weeks, gathering dust while Elvis watched other kids ride their bikes past his window. It was Gladys who finally convinced Elvis to give the guitar a chance. "Baby," she said one afternoon, "that guitar won't play itself. And how are you going to know if you like music if you don't try?" Elvis picked up the instrument reluctantly and discovered that 2 of the 6 strings had snapped. Without money for new strings, the guitar seemed even more useless. But his mother, determined not to let his birthday gift go to waste, had heard about a music shop in Memphis that might help. "There's a man named Mr. Kowalski who fixes instruments," she told Vernon. "Maybe he could help Elvis learn to play." 3 weeks later, on a cold Saturday in February, Gladys took Elvis on the bus to Memphis, carrying the broken guitar in a paper sack. They found Kowalski's music shop after asking directions twice, a narrow storefront squeezed between other small businesses on Union Avenue. The bell above the door chimed as they entered, and Elvis's eyes widened in wonder. The small shop was crammed with guitars of every size and color, mandolins hanging from the ceiling, a piano in the corner, and the rich smell of wood polish and old leather. Behind the counter stood a man in his early 40s with thick glasses and gentle eyes, carefully restringing a violin. "Can I help you?" Sam Kowalski asked, looking up from his work. Gladys pushed Elvis forward gently. "My boy's guitar broke, and we were hoping maybe you could fix it." Elvis pulled the cheap guitar from the paper sack, embarrassed by how shabby it looked among the beautiful instruments surrounding him. He expected the shopkeeper to laugh or dismiss them, as so many adults had when they saw the Presley family's poverty. Instead, Sam Kowalski set down the violin and walked around the counter with genuine interest. "Let me see what we have here," he said, taking the guitar with the same care he would show an expensive instrument. Sam examined the guitar thoughtfully, testing the remaining strings, checking the tuning pegs, running his fingers along the neck. "Good bones," he said finally. "This is a solid little guitar, just needs some new strings and a little adjustment. You want to learn to play, son?" Elvis nodded shyly. "Yes, sir, but we don't have much money." Sam looked at the boy's worn clothes, the mother's carefully patched coat, the hope mixed with embarrassment in both their faces. He had seen many families like this, immigrants, sharecroppers, factory workers who could barely afford necessities, but still believed in their children's dreams. "Tell you what," Sam said, walking to a display case full of guitar strings. "I'll fix this up for you, and I'll throw in a few basic lessons to get you started. We can work out a payment plan that fits your family." Gladys started to protest about charity, but Sam held up his hand. "This isn't charity, ma'am. This is investment. I can see something in this boy's eyes when he looks at these instruments. Sometimes you have to take chances on talent." While Sam restrung the guitar, he talked to Elvis about music. He had immigrated from Poland as a young man, bringing with him a deep appreciation for folk melodies and classical techniques. He had learned guitar repair from his father, who had been a violin maker in the old country. "Music is universal language, Elvis," Sam explained as he worked. "Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, American or Polish, music speaks to everyone's heart." When Sam finished restringing the guitar, he tuned it carefully and handed it back to Elvis. The transformation was remarkable. What had been a broken, silent piece of wood was now a real instrument, ready to make music. "Now," Sam said, "let me show you how to hold it properly." For the next hour, Sam taught Elvis the basics: how to position his fingers, how to strum, how to form his first chord. Elvis was a quick learner, his small fingers finding the fret positions with surprising accuracy. "You have good ear," Sam observed as Elvis attempted his first chord progression. "Natural rhythm, too. This is gift, not something you can teach." When it came time to leave, Sam pulled Elvis aside. "I want you to come back every Saturday if you can. I'll teach you more, and we'll work on different techniques. But you have to promise me you'll practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes." Elvis promised eagerly, clutching the guitar like treasure. "And Elvis," Sam added, "don't let anyone tell you that music is a waste of time or that poor boys can't become musicians. I've seen what happens when talent meets dedication. Dreams come true, but only if you work for them." For the next 3 years, Elvis visited Kowalski's music shop every Saturday. Sam became his first real music teacher, introducing him to different styles, teaching him technique, and most importantly, nurturing his confidence. While other adults dismissed Elvis as just another poor kid, Sam saw potential and invested time in developing it. Sam taught Elvis about expression, not just technique. "Don't just play the notes, Elvis," he would say. "Tell story with your guitar, make people feel something." More than music, Sam taught Elvis about dedication and respect for his craft. He showed him how to care for his instrument, how to tune by ear, how to listen and learn from other musicians. Most importantly, Sam was the first adult outside Elvis's family to tell him he had real talent. When Elvis turned 14 and his voice began changing, Sam helped him navigate the transition. When Elvis expressed doubt about pursuing music, Sam reminded him of how far he had come. "People will always have opinions about what you should do," Sam would say, "but only you can decide what makes your heart sing." In 1948, when Elvis was 13, the Presley family moved to Memphis. Elvis was heartbroken to leave Sam in the music shop, but Sam made him a promise. "If you keep practicing, if you keep believing in yourself, someday you'll make music that the whole world will hear. And when that happens, I'll be listening." Elvis continued to visit the shop occasionally after the family moved to Memphis, but as he grew older and became more involved with Sun Records and his burgeoning career, the visits became less frequent. The last time Elvis saw Sam was in 1954, just after his first recording session with Sam Phillips. He had stopped by to tell Sam about the session and to thank him for everything he had taught him. "Mr. Sam," Elvis had said, "I don't know what's going to happen with this music thing, but I wanted you to know that everything started with you. You were the first person who made me believe I could really do this." Sam had smiled and shaken Elvis's hand firmly. "You were always going to be a musician, Elvis. I just helped you find your way to the guitar a little sooner." That was 1954. Now it was 1970, and Sam Kowalski was sitting in the third row of Elvis's Las Vegas show, watching the shy boy he had taught become the biggest entertainer in the world. The silence in the showroom stretched for what felt like minutes as Elvis stared at his old mentor. Finally, Elvis made a decision that shocked everyone in the venue. He set down his microphone and walked off the stage. Backstage, Elvis was moving with urgent purpose. "Joe," he said to his manager, tears streaming down his face, "get that man from the third row," the older gentleman. "Bring him back here now." "Elvis, we're in the middle of a show," Joe protested. "That man taught me how to play guitar," Elvis said, his voice breaking with emotion. "He's the reason any of this exists. Get him, please." Within minutes, security was escorting Sam Kowalski through the maze of backstage corridors. The elderly music shop owner looked around in amazement at the elaborate production setup, the crew members, the organized chaos of a major Las Vegas show. When Sam saw Elvis waiting for him, the years collapsed. Elvis didn't see a global superstar. He saw the quiet, dedicated teacher who had believed in a poor boy's dreams. Sam didn't see the king of rock and roll. He saw the eager student who had worked so hard to master every lesson. They embraced like father and son, both men crying openly. "Mr. Sam," Elvis whispered, "I never forgot what you taught me. Every time I pick up a guitar, I think about those Saturday lessons." "You exceeded every dream I had for you, Elvis," Sam replied, his voice thick with emotion and his accent still strong after all these years. "But you know what makes me most proud? You never forgot where you came from. You never lost that respect for music." They talked for over an hour while the audience waited. Elvis told Sam about his career, the challenges of fame, the loneliness that sometimes came with success. Sam listened with the same patience and wisdom he had shown in his music shop decades earlier. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm still that boy who loved music," Elvis confided, "or if I've become something else entirely." Sam studied Elvis's face with the same careful attention he had once given to broken instruments. "Let me ask you something, Elvis. When you sing, do you still feel joy? Do you still feel that connection to something bigger than yourself?" "Sometimes," Elvis admitted. "Not always, but sometimes." "Then that boy is still there," Sam said. "Fame changes many things, but it can't change the heart of who you are. You're still the boy who practiced every day because you loved music, not because you had to." Sam had one more gift for Elvis. From his jacket pocket, he pulled out a small, worn photograph. It showed a young Elvis, maybe 12 years old, sitting in the music shop with his first real guitar, smiling shyly at the camera. "I took this picture during one of our lessons," Sam explained. "I've carried it in my wallet all these years. Every time someone asked me about teaching guitar, I would show them this picture and tell them about the boy who practiced harder than anyone else I ever met." Elvis stared at the photograph, remembering that day, remembering the feeling of possibility that had filled him in that small music shop. "Mr. Sam, I want to ask you something. Would you let me buy you a new guitar? The best one money can buy? It's the least I can do after everything you gave me." Sam shook his head gently. "Elvis, I don't need a new guitar, but I would like something else if you're willing." "Anything. I'd like you to play something for me. Just you and a guitar like the old days. Something that makes you happy." Elvis nodded and picked up an acoustic guitar from the backstage area. For the first time in years, he played not for an audience, not for a recording, but for the pure joy of making music with someone who understood his passion. He played "That's All Right," the song that had launched his career, but he played it the way he had learned it in Sam's shop, simple, honest, from the heart. When he finished, Sam applauded quietly. "There he is," Sam said with satisfaction. "There's the boy I taught. He was never gone, just hiding under all the lights and noise." When Elvis returned to the stage 20 minutes later, he dedicated the rest of his performance to Sam. He told the audience about the man who had given him his first real guitar lesson, who had believed in him when nobody else did, who had taught him that music was about touching hearts, not just entertaining crowds. The audience gave Sam a standing ovation, but for the elderly music shop owner, the real reward was seeing Elvis rediscover his joy in performing. For the rest of the show, Elvis sang with a lightness and authenticity that reminded everyone why they had fallen in love with his music in the first place. Sam Kowalski became a regular presence in Elvis's life during the Las Vegas years. Elvis arranged for him to attend shows whenever he wanted, and they would spend hours backstage talking about music and life. Sam's presence reminded Elvis of his roots and helped ground him during difficult periods of his career. When Elvis died in August 1977, Sam was one of the mourners at Graceland. Among Elvis's possessions, he found the original cheap guitar from 1946, carefully preserved with a plaque reading, "Where it all began. Thank you, Mr. Sam." Elvis left Sam money in his will with specific instructions. Use this to help other young musicians who can't afford lessons. Keep believing in dreams the way you believed in mine.